I want to discuss why I buy and review bad-sounding microphones, even if I am fairly certain that I know they are going to sound bad. The reason I started thinking about this is on the last episode of the BSP, I compared 4 lav mics, and the conclusion of myself as well as a bunch of other people in the comments was, yeah, lav mics sound bad compared to large diaphragm condensers, compared to dynamics, compared to SDCs. They do not compare to non-lav microphones. So it got me thinking and wanting to explain why I buy microphones that I think are going to sound bad and why I buy and review microphones which I am fairly certain are going to sound bad. It comes down to 2 reasons. First up, my job as a reviewer does not focus solely on making videos on items that I believe sound good. The purpose that I have for making reviews is to help people make more informed decisions, and that does not just include, hey, this sounds good, you should buy it. It also includes, this sounds bad. This is a faulty product design. Here is why you should not buy it. So in my opinion, it is just as important, if not more important, to review stuff and cover stuff that I don't think sounds good, as opposed to just covering stuff that I am raving about. Hey, everything sounds great. Surprise! Not everything does sound great. Not everything deserves to be purchased. And that is my job as a reviewer. Help you make those more informed decisions so you understand what is a good product and what is a bad product. I had to be reminded of this by the members of the Podcastage channel because when I was testing a Tonor USB microphone, I was whining like a little baby saying, "Wow, I used it and I know it sounds bad. I don't want to spend 20 hours making a video on this." And then they reminded me of what I just illustrated or what I just explained. My job as a reviewer is to inform people, and informing people, hey, this is a bad-sounding microphone, buy that instead, do not waste your money, is incredibly valuable information. Now, to be clear, do I love spending 20+ hours making a video, being thorough, on a microphone that I know I hate, that I know sounds bad, that I know I will not recommend? Absolutely not. I hate spending my time doing that. That is one of my least favorite things about what I do. But to fulfill my purpose as a reviewer, I think doing that is quite essential. If I buy a product, if I plan on reviewing a product and that product ends up sucking, I shouldn't just throw in the towel and say, it sucks, I'm not going to waste my time, because that's going to allow people to mistakenly, in my opinion, buy a bad product. So I am doing my job as a reviewer by buying and spending 20+ hours making a video on something I already know sucks. Never fun, but it's essential. And the second reason is I feel an obligation to do my own due diligence. I feel an obligation to do my own research and have a proper understanding of the entire marketplace so I understand what's available and I understand what tools will fit specific use cases and needs and how everything fits within this market. So after getting a bit more experience with microphones and starting to try out some lavs, I quickly came to the realization I do not like how these sound. In my environment, in an indoor situation with a big desk in front of me with a computer monitor that reflects sounds back, in an untreated space, I think lav microphones sound bad. If I'm remembering correctly, I was even informed that lav mics are typically the last resort on film and TV sets because an SDC, because a shotgun microphone is almost always going to sound better. They resort to lav mics because a shotgun microphone or an SDC is not feasible. It can't be used without finding its way into the picture. But even though I had heard that, I wanted to do my own research. I wanted to hear it with my own ears. And around this time, I had only tried a handful of more affordable lav mics, so I couldn't necessarily say, I think lav mics sound bad. All I could say with any amount of certainty based on my experience was, I think the affordable lav mics sound bad. I didn't know how higher-end lav mics sounded. Maybe the higher-end lav mics resolved all the problems, resolved everything that I disliked about the affordable stuff. So, by spending the money on buying some more industry standard or higher end lav mics, it has allowed me to hear what quality can be achieved by spending a bit more money. And now I have come to the determination on my own, based on my testing, based on my experience, based on the microphones that I have tried out. Yeah, even the higher end lav mics, I still don't like the sound of them, and I prefer an SDC, an LDC, or a handheld dynamic, or a broadcast dynamic every single time. So going forward, I can now review the lav mics that I've picked up in the context of the lavalier microphone market. I understand where each of these lav mics performs, how they stack up against each other. But I can also recommend lav mics to YouTube content creators when I think it's applicable, as opposed to saying, oh yeah, everybody should have a lav mic, because maybe not. Maybe an SDC or an LDC or a dynamic is going to be more appropriate. So by doing this due diligence, by doing this research, by buying the microphones from affordable to higher end, now I have that knowledge. Now I understand where everything sits, and I can make much more informed recommendations and reviews when I get around to it. So that's why I spend my money and my time buying microphones and reviewing microphones that I don't necessarily think sound great, because as a reviewer, it's my job to let people know what is good and what is bad. And I also think if I'm making recommendations, I should have a better understanding of the entire marketplace, and I shouldn't just trust word of mouth. I should do a bit of my own research, a bit of my own testing to come to these realizations and conclusions myself, because that experience is much more valuable than just reading something on a forum.